Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be doing a RISO project for my uni hand-in thing. And yeah, I just wanted to make it into a video and show you guys the process of it and how it all went, because this is my first time ever doing anything. I just realized I said it wrong. It's not actually risograph, it's risograph, because my tutors made sure to make a big deal about how it's riso like miso soup. So, sorry, my risograph project, and yeah, so I just wanted to show it to you all. So I realized I probably should explain what RISO printing is. So risograph printing is a technique used with a risograph printer, which is different from other printers. It's a technique that's best described as like digital screen printing, and it's very similar to screen printing but with like an office copier convenience. They use like these drums with the different colors, so here are the color options that they gave us, and I'll put those up on screen now. And then my amazing friend Mia made this like grid, which was super helpful of figuring out what combination I wanted to do, so I'll also show that now. This technique is known for its vivid colors that other printers can't as easily produce, and it has this really cool specific texture with this grainy effect when you use it a lot, which is really nice. And they deliver quote unquote perfect imperfections, and it's really nice with the overlays, because sometimes it doesn't work exactly how you want it to, but then it adds a bit of pizzazz to it. I'm showing up on screen now some examples of this type of work. So yeah, with the brief we just had to make a risograph print to do with the project that we were doing outside of this. So mine's like a flooded city one, which you'll see pretty soon. And yeah, so we had to only use 2 colors for these, even though a lot of the time people tend to use, I said 3 as the average, but you can use more. And it's quite a cheap and easy method when you have all the drums in the printer, because you can produce work at large quantities, like posters, prints, and zines. So yeah, that's RISO, and then I will now get on with the video. Okay, so here you can see I'm planning out the horizon line, because I was considering doing perspective at the time, but I don't actually end up sticking with this kind of perspective, because for the project I wanted to do a flooded city, but unnaturally flooded, so it's literally I don't know, 100 feet in the air flooded. It is not fantasy floods, because obviously it would not be able to flood that high unless the city is in a walled off area, like Attack on Titan or something. But yeah, so that's what the plan was. So here you can see I'm using the grid lines to make sure I draw straight lines for all of the buildings, but I'm kind of just mapping out the main shapes at the moment, just so I can get something I'm happy with. Just cleaning up some of the edges now. Changed the grid size because I realized it wasn't quite working with what I needed. Adding some more of the pointy ones in the background. Just figuring out how many buildings I wanted and how far forward they would be, because I knew I was going to do a few layers of some are really close and some are not. So here I go, putting in some of the windows, which was really tedious to do. Here I'm going through and just double checking the color scheme I'm going with and grabbing some of the colors from it, because I decided that I wasn't going to do all the windows now and I'd do them after I figured out the colors. So the way you can see what it's going to look like when it goes into the RISO printer is if you get the 2 colors and put them on a multiply layer each, you'll see what the cross section will look like. So you can kind of just do it with, you can mess with the transparency to get the amount of ink that will be on there. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm just going over with the red. I wasn't going to use too much because I wanted to do a gradient in the background. I wanted the buildings to be mostly purple. So I put the red and blue over all of the buildings, and then, although less red than blue because I wanted to be more of a bluey purple, and then now I'm going in with a paint bucket tool and just getting rid of all of the windows that I didn't want lit up, using it as basically an eraser, just so that it's only the red shining through, not the blue anymore. So yeah, that's the gradient I wanted in the background. Just brightening up some of the windows, fixing that bottom bit. And then I realised that I changed my mind and I did want to do all of the windows, so I go back and do that. Which actually, even though it was quite tedious, it was really fun. Like, I did a similar project, which I'll have up on screen now, which I think I'm going to use for my end screen background as well. But I did a similar thing with pixel art, so I kind of figured out some cool building shapes then. And then with this, I decided instead of having it so you could see the buildings through the water like a side-on angle, I decided that I was going to have these buildings reflecting into the water instead. So I ended up just completely getting rid of all the bottom half, which actually saved me a lot of time doing it this way, and I really like how the outcome came out with it as well. This was actually really inspired by this one image I'm going to put up, which I wasn't going to follow to the T as much, but the final outcome ended up looking a lot like it. But yeah, this is the original. I was like, oh, maybe I could do it reflecting, and then I decided that I wasn't, and then, as you can see now, I decided that I did want to. But yeah, it was actually quite like just therapeutic going through and putting all the windows in and designing all the buildings. And then because I changed the grid size, I had to straighten up some of the buildings because they weren't symmetrical anymore. And the main thing I found with this is that you really have to make sure there's variation in these, because otherwise it will look very like samey. So you had to make sure there was a large variety of different kinds of building shapes, and then like the window types and stuff as well. So you can see some of them have got really small windows, then some of them like have more interesting silhouettes with like the balconies and like the chunks missing out of the sides as well. Just to give it more variety really, and to make it feel more real. Which I didn't technically need to do, but I thought it would be nicer than just having a bunch of rectangles, and I'm happy with how it came out. I had a lot of references of cityscapes up while doing this, just to get inspiration for all the different types of buildings. Just adding a few more in the background. Yeah, so I'm finished with them here, so then I'm just going in and cleaning up all of the ones that are fading into the background, because I wanted them to have less transparency. And then you can see I add the red to make it purple, and then I had to clean some of those up again as well. There probably would have been a smarter way of doing this, but I'd already started doing it this way, so... Yeah, and then I was picking which lights I wanted on. I think I end up going a little bit crazy with how many lights are on, and then I end up having to change my mind. Because I ended up doing it like building by building, of like how many I thought fit, and then I zoomed out and I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many lights on. And I didn't want it to seem as busy. Yeah, so I end up and undo like half of it, and then go back and be a bit more sparing and keep a look at the navigator in the right to see what looks like the right amount of windows. The right amount of lights on. And just straightening up some of the edges. And then adding some of the balcony fences and some highlights just to differentiate some of them. And then I started like tracing any of the lines that I wanted to carry across from the line work. Which actually pains me watching me do it now because I know how I end up doing it in the end because I do this for so long. And then in the end I end up just taking the actual line art and like clipping masking it to be blue and then merging it down onto the actual layer. So I don't even, this is all completely obsolete. Because obviously I just have to do everything the most complicated way before I figure out the smartest way. It's because of all of the different things I had to think about, like with the multiply layers and like making sure that it all overlaid, because I have to either work in blue or red. Like I'm not actually color picking the purple. I had to like preemptively plan each layer because that's how it works in the RISO printer. So I think that got to me because this really hurt my head to do, which probably seems really silly now. But yeah, this is when I figure out that I could have just done it this way. Oh, and I feel like a right numpty. End up lighting a few more up, but only dimly. Just to add some shine and stuff. Then I realised I have to push some of because some of the line work was still a bit too dark for the ones in the back, so kind of had to erase those a little bit. Most of the detail is in the blue layer, to be honest. It's just like erasing down so you see the red layer. The red layer is almost all either just the gradient or just flat red on all the buildings. This is me figuring out the moon I wanted. I was going to do a crescent moon at first. I think I do stick with the crescent moon, actually. And then I wanted to add some stars, but then I couldn't figure out a good ratio. Yeah, I did keep with the crescent moon, I just shrunk it. And then I was just doing the stars, and then I copied the layers down to try and do their water reflection, and then like squish them a bit with free transform. And I'm just figuring out the opacity I want for them and merging them onto the original layers, and then I use the liquefy tool to like smudge them a bit, and it kind of gives this cool like 3D glasses effect. So then I'm just cleaning up some of the edges because some white came through. And then just Gaussian blurring it. Is it Gaussian? Gaussian? I don't know. Blurring it, adding some highlights. And yeah, so that's how it turned out, really. And I'm really happy with it. Here are also the individual layers that I needed to submit as well, and I needed to submit the grayscale ones with them labeled of which is which as well. So that's what gets sent to the printer, and then it reads those, and then that's depending on how white it is or the transparency of, yeah, just how white it is with the grayscale. It kind of reads it similar to like a gradient map. And yeah, so it reads that, knowing which color to do it, and then prints them on top of each other, which is how it gets the cool overlay section. So I had to submit it in the grayscale layers, and then here are the normal layers as well. And yeah, here's the final one, and then I will show you the actual printout version now. So yeah, as you can see, they didn't get much clarity, so they had to mess with it, and then it got rid of all of my gradient on the sky and so much of the detail. The middle one came out the nicest, I think. But yeah, this is the first one, and you can kind of see the moon in it and the gradient, but none of the red really showed up, so then they had to mess with it again. But yeah, so I'm not super happy with how the final printout turned out, but I really enjoyed it, and it really like tested my way of thinking and my way of working, so definitely recommend it, but maybe follow a tutorial or figure out a different way to do it digitally, because it was really tedious and gave me a headache. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!